Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare So, thank you all very much. If you guys could come a little closer, it'd be more comfortable. I'm a vegetarian. My revered spiritual master, we had a certain set of prayers that we would recite every day before Srimad Bhagavatam. And he instructed me that I should do this thing. This takes about 5 minutes or more. Prabhuji's going to put this in on the screen. So you can recite this with me, please. Narayanam namaskrityam naram shaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayam dirayet vedi ramayanesh chaiva purane bharate tata adavante cha madhye cha hari sarvatra giyate mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham bande shri gurum dinataranam paramananda madhavam. So in Orissa, they have what's called Bhagavatungis. It's a place in the village traditionally where all the members of the village would come together every evening and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And before they do that, they have a traditional song that they sing about the Bhagavatam and about Jagannath Krishna. So this is their song. Paramananda he Madhava Padunga Luchi Makaranda Se Makaranda Panakori Anande Bolo Hari Hari Harinka Name Vanda Vela Parikori Me Chakadola Se Chakadolanka Paraye Manamo Rahu Nirantare Manamo Nirantare Rahu Ha Krishna Boli Jiva Jao Ha Krishna Boli Jao Jiva Mote Udara Radha Gava Mote Udara Radha Gava Mote Udara Radha Gava Dharma Projita Kaita Vota Paramonya Matsranam Satam Vedyam Vastava Matta Vastu Shivadam Taka Trayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamune Kate Kimba Parayishvara Sadyo Hidyavarudyate Chakatibi Shushu Shudistakshana Nigamako Gataro Garitam Phalam Shugamukadamitra Davasanyutam Pivata Bhagavatam Ashamalayam Muhuraho Rashika Bhuvi Bhavuka Anato Pasamam Sakshat Bhakti Yogam Adhoksuje Lokasya Janato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam Yasham Vaishayamanayam Krishna Padama Purushe Bhaktiudat Padyate Pumsa Shokamoha Vayapaha Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yat Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Padam Giyate Tatra Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Sahitam Naistam Yamaviskritam Tachchinvan Supaten Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha Arto Yam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Bhashiruposho Vedartha Paribrinitaha Sarva Vediti Hasanam Saram Sadam Samudritam Sarva Vedanta Sadam Hi Srimad Bhagavatam Ishyate Tadrashamrita Chiptasya Nanyatra Swadruchi Kuchit Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup Shri Bhagavata Tate Vedam Shastra Hoite Paramamahatma Chari Veda Upanishade Jata Kichu Hoya Tara Arta Lena Vyasa Korila Sanchaya Jai Sujay Jai Rup Vishaya Vachana Bhagavate Seru Sukarni Bandana Jivera Nishtara Lagi Sutra Koilo Vyasa Mayavadi Pashishanile Hara Savanasha Jaho Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavera Stane Ekanta Shaikoro Chaitanya Charane Bhagavata Jainamane Sejavana Samaha Tada Shasta Achijane Janme Prabhu Jama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Granthadash Srimad Bhagavatam, the king of all literatures. This is Canto 6, Chapter 11, which are the prayers of Vritasura. And today, this is the last verse in that chapter. This is text number 27. Mamutama shloka janeshu sakyam. Mamutama shloka janeshu sakyam. Samsara chakre brahmata sakarma bihi. Samsara chakre brahmata sakarma bihi. Tvanmaya yatmatma jadara gehesh. Tvanmaya yatma jadara gehesh. Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. Anyone else? Mamutama shloka janeshu sakyam. Samsara chakre brahmata sakarma bihi. Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. You Matajis? Mamutama shloka janeshu sakyam.
Samsara chakre brahmata swakarma bihi.
Samsara chakre brahmata swakarma bihi.
Tvamaya yatmatma jadara gehesh.
Tvamaya yatma jadara gehesh.
Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat.
Asakta chittasya nanata bhuyat. Mama, my, Uttama shloka janeshu, among devotees who is simply attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakyam, friendship. Samsara chakre, in the cycle of birth and death. Brahmataha, who am wandering. Sakarma bihi, by the results of my own fruitive activities. Tvat mayaya, by your external energy, Atma, to the body, Atmaja, children, Dada, wife, Geheshu, in home, Asakta, attached, Chittasya, whose mind, Na, not, Nata, O my Lord, Bhuyat, may there be. O my Lord, my Master, I'm wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruit of activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy, but I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached only to you. Please repeat. O my Lord, my Master, I'm wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruit of activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. At the Serbian summer camp, my attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy. But I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached only to you. Draganya gana go to Goloruhadam Goranga Gura Tamago Pirakopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavadam Satatam Namami. So, these 4 verses, the last 4 verses of this 11th chapter, the 6th canto, they're called the Vritta Chaturshloki. There's a Chaturshloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4 main verses. These particular verses are also famous as a Vritta Chaturshloki, or 4 prayers of Vritasura. The story of Vritasura, which I'll just briefly recount, is an important part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, in different Puranas, such as the Devi Bhagavat Purana, and other Puranas which describe the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the characteristics of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that it tells the story of Vritasura. So Vritasura, to try to be very quick about it, is a story of Maharaj Chitraketu, who is a great Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. And he was so powerful, he was traveling throughout the universe at will in an airplane, surrounded by a lot of young ladies. And he was always hearing and chanting about the Lord. And one day he decided that he should go to hear from Lord Shiva. So he went to Kailash. And there in Kailash he found a group of exalted rishis who were gathered around Lord Shiva, who was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. And on the lap of Lord Shiva, surprisingly, was Parvati. Now, if someone were to give Srimad Bhagavatam class with their wife on their lap, it might be a little embarrassing and maybe a little uncomfortable even for the brahmacharis and sannyasis. And Chitraketu Maharaj understood, actually, everything, that Lord Shiva is a very exalted personality. He's not attached to his wife. But he also saw the whole situation and that not everyone could understand what was going on. And so Chitraketu, he laughed. And Parvati, who's sitting in the lap of Lord Shiva, who's the personification of the material energy, and whom it's a little dangerous to make her angry. Parvati didn't appreciate that. She thought that Chitraketu was making fun of her and Lord Shiva. And so she rebuked him. She spoke in a harsh way. And she said, everyone says you're a great devotee. What kind of devotee are you? You're a demon. Better you take birth as a demon. And she cursed him. And Chitraketu, the mark of his greatness was, he just bowed his head and said, yes, Mataji, thank you, whatever you say. And so he took birth again as Britrasura, a great demon, or seemingly a demon, because actually he was a great Vaishnava in the body of a devotee, in the body of a demon, which might sound a little familiar to some of us. And ironically, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge, that personality whom the Bhagavatam describes, that Krishna comes again and again to help out because he's in charge of religious principles and preserving them, that personality of Indra, Indra had to kill Britrasura because Britrasura is on the wrong team. And there was some battle, and Britrasura, he accepted, go ahead, kill me. And Indra could understand Britrasura is actually a greater devotee of Krishna than he is. Britrasura just wanted to get it over with. Go ahead and kill me, let me die. But before I die, let me offer these prayers to the Lord. And so he offered this Britra chapter Shloki, these 4 verses. And this last verse I like very much. And I wanted to share with you today how he's praying to the Lord, Mamotama Shloka Janeshu Sakyam, that may I always have friendship with your devotees. Krishna's offering him anything he wants. What benediction does he pray for? He prays for attachment to the Vaishnavas. Jiva Goswami comments on this verse in his Krama Sandarbha, and he also writes about it in his Priti Sandarbha. In Krama Sandarbha, Britrasura he's thinking to himself that, how is it possible that I will be able to be with the Lord? I have no qualification. Why should I pray for such a thing? By my adhikar, my qualification, there's no doubt I'll always remain here in this material world. And so with tears in his eyes, he speaks this, fine, let me stay here, but may I always have association with your devotees. Commenting on these 4 verses in the Priti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami, he says that Tad Ichaduja Premot Garamat Yanevaiva Srimad Britravadasura, that Britrasura wasn't just speaking these things from his intellect. Like sometimes we get up in the morning and we sing Samsara Dhavanala Lida Loka. Prabhu, what's the next line? Because it's just from our mind. And we sometimes forget. But Britrasura, he says that Britrasura was speaking these things from his heart with deep intensity. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Sarita Darshini, his commentary in the Bhagavatam, he says that Vritrasura was thinking to himself that how can such a low rascal like me get good fortune? Let me stay in the material world, but just let me have friendship with the devotees of the Lord. Let me not have friendship with people who are attached to their body, to their children, to their house and wife. I want association with your devotees. There's an interesting verse in the Bhagavatam which appears twice, word for word. Once in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, it's spoken by the sages of Naimisharanya to Sutta Goswami. And then later in the fourth canto, by the Prachetas to Lord Vishnu. The Prachetas were doing tapasya, and Lord Vishnu appeared before them and offered them a benediction. This is your lucky day. What would you want? A life supply of ice cream? A big bank balance, a beautiful wife, liberation. What would you like? You name it, you can have it. And the Prachetas, they spoke this verse. Tulayama lavenapi naswargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya marchanam kimutasi saha. They said that Tulayama lavenapi naswargam na punarbhavam. We're not asking for liberation. We want something much better than that. What's better than liberation? Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya. We want association with your devotees. That's the topmost benediction. And this is the prayer of Vritrasura. May always have friendship with your devotees. And why is this so important for us? We had this discussion, this topic before us, about remembrance of the Lord. Rupa Goswami has given a nice verse, Yuvatinam Yata Yuni. He says that just as young girls, they're always thinking of a young boy with affection. And as a young boy is always thinking of a young girl, may I always think of you. Because if we speak about remembrance, we can try to mechanically do something. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentaries on the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, speaks about 3 levels of bhakti: abhyasa, manana, and smarana. Smarana is remembrance. We want to have remembrance. But first of all, Krishna says, abhyasa yoga yuktena. Abhyasa means to practice. We're practicing. Our temple authorities told me to sweep the temple. And so I'm sweeping the temple. And while I'm sweeping the temple, I'm remembering an old Beatles song that I really liked. Or maybe I'm thinking of a movie, or I'm thinking of an old girlfriend, or this or that. But an amazing thing is there about sweeping the temple. If you sweep the temple, after some time, it becomes clean. Similarly with our mind. When we practice bhakti, cheto darpana marjanam. The darpana, or the mirror of our consciousness, finally becomes cleansed. And at that point, we become a little peaceful. Whereas before, we're agitated always in different ways. And then, from abhyasa, or external practice, we shift gears. And we come to the point of manana. And manana means that we start to think about, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Oh, because they told me, but that's not the reason. Because Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to keep the temple clean. Because I want to do it for Radha Gopinath. Because I want to do it to help inspire the devotees to have a nice sattvic, transcendental atmosphere. Because we want to have such an atmosphere when new people come. It's like the spiritual world and everything is so clean. I start thinking about it. And I think I'm doing this for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas. I'm doing it for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. Tate Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Seva. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, what is my Krishna bhajan? I can't do Krishna bhajan. The gopis, the Brijbasis, they can do Krishna bhajan. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his Manasiksha, he says, the bhajan is done by the Brijbasis. So then what am I doing? I'm doing Guru Seva. Tate Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Seva. My Krishna bhajan is my service to my Gurudev. What service am I doing for my Gurudev? I'm doing Krishna bhajan. Because that will please Gurudev. Not just like the Jai Guru Sampradaya, the followers of Madhavananda in India. They're always singing Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. That's not our mantra. But we're chanting Hare Krishna. And Gurudev becomes very, very pleased by that. So, when we come to this point of manana, and considering what I'm doing, and why I'm doing it, who I'm doing it for, and what kind of bhajan does Gurudev like? What kind of kirtan does Srila Prabhupada like? Sometimes the devotees were doing kirtan for a long time, chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari, and Prabhupada sent someone down from upstairs from the temple and tell them to stop. What are they doing? They should chant Hare Krishna. So we should think, I want to do this kirtan, this bhajan for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. If I don't think like that, then maybe I'm thinking, oh, I'm a good musician. Or maybe even I'm thinking, when is the prasadam? Or maybe I'm thinking, if I sing really nice, the girls will notice, or the boys will notice, or whatever. And we're not thinking of the proper thing, but through the process of abhyasa, practice, gradually we'll become purified of that. And we come to manana. And then on the platform of manana, that's when bhakti really begins. Or Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha puts it in another way. He says is agyata sukriti. Agyata sukriti means that, and Bhakti Vinod says there's also bhakti unmukhi agyata sukriti. Someone may be doing something unknowingly and they get some benefit. In 1971, I went in, as a little boy, I was 11 years old, I went in an old abandoned house in Colorado Springs, Colorado in America. And I was looking on the wall, and some hippies or someone had put some pictures there. And I used to sit and look at those pictures and try to figure out who in the world is this blue boy? And who are all the girls with him and all these cows? And what is all of that about? That's agyata sukriti. You get some benefit. And somehow at that point in my life, without knowing anybody who was one, without knowing anything about it, I decided I must become a vegetarian. So there's some agyata sukriti. We get some benefit just hearing the holy name from the Harinam party. But that's not enough, Jiva Goswami says, for bhakti. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that bhakti unmukhi sukriti will help us. That activity of bhakti unmukhi sukriti will give us sadhu sangha. And what Jiva Goswami calls gyata sukriti, or doing something in a knowledgeable way. I'm doing this for a reason. So that's manana. And from manana then, when we chant again and again for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, then at some point comes marana. Marana means death. And from marana comes smarana. After we die materially, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you should just die. He says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam. Just give up all your religion. Just give up everything material and surrender to me. That's a kind of death. When I give up my false ego, give up my material life, I'm going to materially die and come to me. So when there's marana, some Vaishnavas say, then comes smarana. Then remembrance of Krishna comes in a natural way. But the poet Vidyapati, he sings in one song, Sutamita Ramani Rachinta Samaj, that we're putting our wife and our family and our country on the platform of love. And because of that, we're always thinking of them. And we can't really think of Krishna. So we want to develop relationships with devotees that are proper relationships. And therefore, our subject matter over the last few days has been the art and heart of Vaishnava Sangha. And we spoke, for those of you who were there in our sessions, that what is the heart of Vaishnava Sangha? The heart of Vaishnava Sangha is Krishna. So that's the personality whom our Sangha revolves around, is Krishna. But who's in the heart of Krishna? Krishna says to Durvasa Muni, Sadhanam Hridayam Tvaham, that the devotees are in my heart, and I'm in the heart of my devotees. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he comments on this verse, that Krishna is the super soul. But who is the super soul of the super soul? The devotees. The devotees are in the heart of Krishna. So, what then, if this is the heart of Vaishnava Sangha, Krishna's, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj Ki Jai. If Krishna is the heart of Vaishnava Sangha, then what is the art of Vaishnava Sangha? The art of Vaishnava Sangha is to keep Krishna in the center of our Sangha always. And how do we do that? By developing love for the devotees who are doing that. Srila Prabhupada said in one lecture in April 30th, 1970 in Los Angeles, he said that on the Madhyam platform, which we want to come to, we want to have a Madhyam society, not a Kanishta society. Prabhupada said, on the Madhyam platform, we not only love God, but we make friendship with the devotees who are loving God. That's society. Our society is devotees. We should not only practice to love God, but we should make friendship and love the devotees also. So we want to think of Krishna. But how can we think of Krishna? Well, we have this mantra, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. 16 words, 32 syllables. In the material world, there's also a Maha Mantra in society. We have our Maha Mantra, and we say if someone just hears this mantra, there was a movie, I don't know, years ago, the devotees were in with Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby, I think he plays the devil, and he gets hit by a bus of Hare Krishna devotees. And he dies, and the last thing he hears is a group of devotees around him chanting Hare Krishna. That's pretty good. Right? So if you just hear this mantra, when you die, you can get perfection. You just hear this mantra one time, the mantra can give you everything. Right? We say that. So in the material world, they also have a Maha Mantra. And they consider if you just one time in your life hear this mantra, your life is perfect. And if you don't hear this mantra ever, then your life is useless. Our mantra has 16 words. Jai Satchidananda Maharaj. The Maha Mantra in the material world is only 3 words. Their Maha Mantra is, I love you. But there's 3 problems with this Maha Mantra in the material world. First of all, I don't know who I am. So how can I say I love you if I don't know who I am? Secondly, I don't know what love is. And thirdly, I don't know who you are. So the whole mantra really doesn't mean very much. And generally, what it means just is that I'm really physically attracted to your body. That's what most of them consider to be love, which we would call Stula Deha Priti in Bengali. Better than that is Sukshma Deha Priti, or attachment to the subtle body. She likes to play chess. I also like chess. That's really cool. She likes the same kind of music. But ultimately, we want Atma Priti. We want to be attached to the soul. And real love, Savaipam Sampado Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adhoksaje. Real love, real devotion is meant to be given to Krishna. Krishna is the object of all love. So, Sutamita Ramani Rachinta Samaj, because we're putting our wife, our children, our husband, our family, our friends, our country on the platform of love, our mind is always going there. And although we're trying to chant Hare Krishna, although we're trying to remember Krishna, our mind keeps going back to these things. So my Guru Maharaj used to say, therefore we have to put Krishna on the platform of love. But how do we do that? Sometimes I've seen at the time of Vyas Puja, devotees write an offering to their Guru and they say, Guru Maharaj, I love you. That's a nice statement. Is it Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Ruda Bhav, Adi Ruda Bhav, Modanaki Bhav, or Madanaki Mahabhav? Which kind of love is it? Priti or Sneha? It's not such a small thing in Vaishnavism to say, I love you. Because love is a very, very deep thing. It's a very high thing. So we want to think of Krishna. We want to put Krishna on the platform of love. But there's this problem because there's already someone in my garage. I want to have the Krishna car in my garage, but I have this four-wheel drive truck of attachment to my wife and family and other members. So both vehicles won't fit at the same time. So what is the solution? So the solution is given here in this verse by Britishura. He's saying, my Lord, I always want to remember you, and therefore, please, I want the benediction of having friendship with your devotees. Because if I develop love for the devotees, then naturally I'll be able to remember Krishna. In the Sattvata Tantra, it's described, Hari Lila Sato Chadha Pareshu Satatam Tvaya Karya Pritistava Harir Yata Bhaktir Nanashyati Yata Bhaktir Nanashyati. Nashyati means to destroy. If you don't want your bhakti to be destroyed, if you want to protect your bhakti, here's what you should do. You should learn to love the devotees. Because if you don't love the devotees, Vishnu Jana Maharaj, he used to preach to the brahmacharis. You should have friendship and love the brahmacharis. Because if you don't love the brahmacharis and have friendship with them, then you're going to love someone else. Maybe a woman. I was giving a class a few years ago in Odessa, Ukraine. And I was saying how we should love the devotees. After the class, one of our brahmachari friends raised his hand. He said, but Prabhuji, there's no such thing as love in the material world. And Srila Prabhupada says like that. And it's a fact. What passes as love in this material world is just an imitation. It's just attraction to someone else's physical body. It's not real love, it's just lust. But I told him, you're right. But we don't want to live in the material world. We want to live in the spiritual world. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada has created this society of devotees. And in this lecture in Los Angeles, he said, we should not only practice to love God, but we must learn to love the devotees also. So the Sattvata Tantra says that if you love the devotees, then your bhakti will be protected. Because if you don't love the devotees, you'll end up loving some non-devotee. And some bad habits, some bad things will come to you. So we want to love the devotees. But how do we love the devotees? Prabhuji, I love the Vaishnavas. Will you come to the movies with me? And it's sadhu sangha because he's got tilak on. He brings a mridanga with him also. And we sit and watch Star Wars together. And it's a spiritual experience because I'm with a Vaishnava, right? That's not sadhu sangha. Hari Lila Sutochara. We should learn to love the devotees for Krishna Katha, for Krishna Kirtan. And we come together. Sachinanda Maharaj the other day was quoting Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 3, text 31. There's 5 verses in that section, and the 31st verse is the last of them. We're in the Yogendras, the Navi Yogendras, they speak to Maharaj Nimi about the process of bhakti. And those 5 verses describe how we should chant and hear and remember about Krishna. But they also tell Maharaj Nimi that to be able to do this, you have to be in association with devotees. In text number 30 of that chapter, they say, Parasparam katanam pavanam bhagavad yasaha mito rate mitas tushya nivrita mita atmanaha. That we should learn how to associate with devotees. I know how to make friends, right? In Russia, you make friends by sitting down and drinking vodka. That's how you make friends. In America, it's beer. You go to watch a football game together. That's how you make friends. But that's not how we associate with devotees. And it's very important that we learn how to associate with devotees. So we speak about the art and heart of Vaishnava Sangha. The heart of Vaishnava Sangha is Krishna. Who's in the heart of Krishna? The devotees. So the devotees in Krishna are the heart of Vaishnava Sangha. What is the art of Vaishnava Sangha? The art of Vaishnava Sangha is how to associate together. And we need to learn that art. As we were speaking yesterday with one devotee, I saw a t-shirt recently, someone in Budapest, and it really struck me. I felt like Srila Prabhupada was speaking to me. And the t-shirt had a very simple phrase. It said, have faith in the process. I see so many devotees today, they don't have faith. Some of them don't have faith in the GBC. I'm just speaking frankly. They don't have faith in the temple managers. Some of them don't have faith in their guru, or the devotees, or in ISKCON even. Just have faith in the process. And don't be concerned about all these other things. If we just have faith in the process, everything will come. And this is the essence of Vaishnava Sangha. This is the art of Vaishnava Sangha. We want to remember Krishna. We do that in association with devotees, by loving devotees. But that love for the devotees, Hari Lila Satochara, Pareshi Satatandra, Kaya Pritistava Harir. That priti, that love we have for the devotees, is there because they're speaking Krishna Katha. Because they're doing kirtan, they're doing service, they're distributing books. This is my friend. Once I heard a story from my first Sankirtan leader, Janaka Rishi Prabhu. He was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He was a big Bhakti Shiva in Los Angeles. And he gave a big donation to Guru Kripa Maharaj. Guru, $10,000 US. At that time, that was a huge, it'd be like 100,000 US dollars today. Guru Kripa Maharaj liked him very much then. They were together in Hawaii, and Srila Prabhupada came, and there was some controversy. There was an ISKCON scandal. It's not just starting now, but it was going on then. And devotees, big senior devotees were flying in from all over the world to speak with Srila Prabhupada. And they were complaining about some devotees who had left ISKCON. And they were saying, Prabhupada, they're separatists. They won't listen to the GBC. They don't follow instructions. They're this, they're that, they're nonsense. And they were saying all bad things. And our friend Janaka Rishi was there in the room on the invitation of Guru Kripa Prabhu, kind of like a fly on the wall, watching all this. And he said for over 1 hour they went on criticizing this devotee to Srila Prabhupada. And finally they ran out of bad things to say. And they were quiet. And then Srila Prabhupada spoke. And Srila Prabhupada said, are they chanting Hare Krishna? And the other devotees were quiet for a moment. Guru Kripa spoke up, yes, Srila Prabhupada, they're chanting Hare Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada slammed his fist down on the desk. And he said, then they are our friends. So anyone who's chanting Hare Krishna, they're our friend. I have faith in the process. They're my friend, not just because they're initiated by my guru, not just because they're an ISKCON devotee or a follower of Srila Prabhupada, but they're my friend because they're chanting. And even I have friends in the Jewish community. We've had one Jewish couple came a few years ago. We had one Muslim couple come a few years ago to Puri. We took them around. They knew the devotees. And they're nice friends. And honestly, in some ways, probably I have better conversations with them than I do with some of my godbrothers. More philosophical and more affectionate. Our friendship is there with anyone who loves the Lord in his multi-different forms. So, Parasparanam Katanam Pavanam Bhagavadisa 11.330 describes in Bhagavatam, we should learn how to associate with devotees. And we do that by coming together. Paraspara, the word paraspara doesn't mean Bhagavatam class. We have the word class. But class is what you do in the university. So Bhagavatam Katha is not like class in the university. It's not like a sermon in the church, although sometimes it might feel like it. It's not like a commercial on television, I really hope. But Katha is paraspara. Paraspara is a Sanskrit and Bengali word which means back and forth. There should be some discussion, ideally, amongst the devotees. And one devotee has the service of speaking, other devotees have the service of hearing. And as Satchidananda Maharaj is saying in his first class, that the listener is actually more important than the speaker. Because if the listener is very eager, so many things will come out of the speaker, even though the speaker may not be qualified. So Paraspara Anukatanam Pavanam Bhagavad Yasa. What do we come together and speak? Bhagavad Yasa. The glories of Krishna. We hear about Krishna's pastimes. We want to directly hear about Krishna. What's the verse Maharaj was quoting in this, that he said we should all know? Two different types of kata, two types of sangha. Satam prasangam. Satam prasangam. Mama virya samvido. This verse describes how we should associate with devotees by hearing Krishna kata. And it says that we should have prasanga. Now, what's the difference between why is satam prasanga? Why not just satsanga? Satsanga, sat prasanga. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. What is satsanga? Satsanga means an association of people who are honest. Of men who take care of their wives and children and pay their bills. Of people who have good character. People who are moral. That's satsanga. People who go to Mangalarti, who get up early in the morning, who take bath, who chant japa, Vishwanath says. That's satsanga. But what is satam prasanga? Prasanga means something more. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that prasanga means hearing directly about Krishna. And therefore Srila Prabhupada gave us Krishna book. And he wanted us to read it. He wanted us to distribute it to everyone. That's prasanga. Not just topics, even of Bhagavad Gita. Dehinosmin yata dehe komanam yovanam. We're not this body. That's very important. Sarvadharmam puritiga mamekam saranam bhaja. We should surrender everything to Krishna. But who is Krishna? What does he do? What does he look like? It's not discussed in Bhagavad Gita. But it's discussed in Krishna book. That's prasanga. And that kind of sangha, that's association with devotees. Parasparana katanam pavanam bhagavad yasa. When we come together and hear that Bhagavad Yasa, mito rata mitas tushta navrita mita atmana, then something naturally happens in that assembly of Vaishnavas. The attachment, the so-called love we have, Sutta Mita Ramani Rachinta Samaj, for our husband and wife and children, that love gradually comes to the devotees. And this is the art of Vaishnava Sangha. Krishna is the heart, and this is the art. Srila Prabhupada in one talk in Mauritius in 1976, he spoke something very, very beautiful I'd like to share with you. It's an interesting thing. If you look this up on the folio, you'll find it in Back to Godhead section, but you won't find it in the lectures or conversations. I couldn't figure out why. And then I heard from our friend Arjun Prabhu, Prabhupada's disciple, who was present in Mauritius. They recorded it. They sent it to Los Angeles by tape, and they transcribed it for the BTG, part of it, but then the tape got lost. So that's why it's there. And it was printed in BTG during Srila Prabhupada's time. So listen carefully what Srila Prabhupada said. This is, for me, this is one of the most important, beautiful things Prabhupada says about Vaishnava Sangha. Prabhupada said, Vedic society is based on the principle of love between husband and wife, father and son, the king and the citizens, and so on. Civilization must be founded on love, not law. So today, if you only remember one thing, yeah, he was quoting all these verses, and I don't remember this, but I remember one sentence that he said. If you can remember this one sentence, okay? Civilization must be founded on love, not law. Can you repeat that? I'll say it again, and you repeat after me. Civilization must be founded on love, not law. So if someone asks you, what were they talking about in that class today? What will you say? And Prabhupada explains, by law, you cannot make a person love you. Right? First, he must love you. Then he will gladly follow your law. Modern civilization lacks this basis of love. And then Prabhupada says something very profound. Modern civilization lacks this basis of love. And then there's two symptoms of a civilization that lacks a basis of love. What are they? Prabhupada says, I'll read the sentence fully. Modern civilization lacks this basis of love, so everything is superficial and false. Does that sound familiar? If we ever find ourselves and we feel like, oh, my Sangha, my association with the devotees is superficial, or it's false, it's pretentious, it's because it's not based on love. But what does love mean? I met the devotees first in 1978 in Washington State in America at a rainbow gathering. It's kind of a strange thing. Anyway, so thousands of people gathered together in the mountains and a bunch of crazy hippie people mostly. And all night long you could hear people shouting from different mountaintops, I love you. And that was like their saying, I love you. So amongst devotees, I remember after my Guru Maharaj left, there was some unpleasant feelings. It happens sometimes amongst the devotees. And at one Vyas Puja program, one of our senior godbrothers stood up and in front of everybody said, so I want everyone here to turn to the devotee next to you and give him a hug and tell him, I love you. And so I was next to one of my sannyasi godbrothers. We kind of rolled our eyes in our head. And the idea was now this is going to solve all of our problems. So sometimes we try like that. Prabhu, you should just love all the other devotees. But what does it mean to love them? It doesn't just mean like at the rainbow gathering, you just shout in the middle of the night, I love you. It has no meaning. But we show our love for the devotees by hearing and chanting together and by caring for each other. Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he says there's two ways that we serve Guru. We serve his Vani, but we also serve the body of Gurudev. And we understand that more important is the instruction. But what does that mean when Guru Maharaj comes and he's been traveling all day from Berlin and he's tired and hot? We say, Gurudev, I know you've been traveling a long ways, but you know, I'm a very advanced disciple. I just want to hear Krishna Katha from you. And I'm not going to offer you anything for your body because you're not your body. I heard that, Gurudev. I'm not going to feed you. I'm not going to offer you a nice bed or anything because that's just external. Similarly, that's offensive. We show our love to the Vaishnavas, to Gurudev, by also caring for their bodies, by caring for their anxieties, by caring for their problems. But we always do it with Krishna Katha, with Krishna Kirtan. That civilization is a civilization of love. And Krishna, He's eager to love the devotees. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says that Krishna is a Paramatma in everyone's heart, but who is the Paramatma in the heart of the Paramatma? It's the Vaishnavas. And Baladev Vidyabhushan, in his commentary on the word sadhu in the Vishnu Sahasranam, sadhu is one of the names of Lord Vishnu. And he explains that this word sadhu is there. It means that someone who is serving... Thank you, Krishna. I have to take a medicine. Sadhu is that one who's serving according to the devotee's wishes. And Baladev Vidyabhushan gives different examples. How Krishna is Parthasarathi. We say that Krishna is the driver of Arjuna. That's such a big deal. Why is that such a big deal? Did you ever think about it? Did you ever wonder how it is that the warrior gives instructions to the driver how to move? It's in the middle of a huge battle. 1 million people there screaming and shouting, and elephants screaming, and people dying. And there's no radio. How are you going to give a message to the driver? In the traditional Vedic chariots, the warrior, the archer, would sit on a higher platform. The driver would sit below, and the archer, the warrior, would keep his 2 feet on the shoulders of the driver. And when he wanted to go to the right, he would push his right foot down. Wanted to go to the left, push the left foot down. Want to stop, push both feet down. He would have different signals like that. It's a very humble position. But Krishna accepted that. Krishna brings things to Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj asks him, "Hey Kanu, Gopal, bring me my shoes." And Krishna puts his father's shoes on his head. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's worshipped in all the churches and temples and mosques in the world, who creates and destroys everything, is taking his father's shoes and carrying them on his head like a humble servant. Because he gets pleasure from serving the devotees. Krishna is Bhakta Bhaktiman. He's a devotee of the Lord. And in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, what's the verse? Krishna says that better than serving me is to serve my devotees. So this is the art and heart of Vaishnava Sangha. And this is a process to remember the Vaishnavas. We want to serve the Vaishnavas. And sometimes we think that if I serve the Vaishnavas, it'll be very good. You know, in the 10th canto, we hear the story about the wedding of Vasudeva and Devaki, and how Kamsa, who is a brother of Devaki, agreed to be the chariot driver for the couple just after they got married. And then all of a sudden there's an Akashvani, a voice from the sky. "Hey, Kamsa, idiot, badmash. You don't understand, the 8th child of Devaki is going to kill you." Now, why did they have to do that? Why are they doing that and putting Devaki in danger? Are the demigods who spoke, are they angry with Devaki? Why are they speaking like that? We came across one commentary on this. And Vaishnava was saying that because the demigods understand the power of Vaishnava Seva. And they saw how powerful Kamsa is. He could defeat all the demigods. And now Kamsa is doing Vaishnava Seva for Vasudeva and Devaki. Who knows how powerful he's going to become? We've got to stop this right now. And so that's why they spoke up. Because they were afraid. So some people, they do Vaishnava Seva, thinking if I serve the devotees, it's going to benefit me. But Ramanujacharya says, you've got it all wrong. If you think that's the purpose of Vaishnava Seva, Vaishnavanam Anusthane Nopayamatim Unayet Upamayeva Satatam Unayet Sumahamanaham. He says, if you think that serving the Vaishnavas is the means to the end, then you have a misunderstanding. Serving the Vaishnavas is the goal. It's not the means to the goal, it is the goal. It's our everything. That's the art and heart of Vaishnava Sangha. We want to serve the Vaishnavas. This is the highest thing. And therefore, Britta Sura, in this Britta chapter Shloki, these 4 very important verses in the 11th chapter of the 6th canto, he finishes by saying, I want this benediction. I want to always remember you, but I want friendship with your devotees. Because the two things go together. You can't have one without the other. As we've been saying several times recently in our sessions, that what if we had, you decided to have a Serbian summer camp, and so you come, but no one else is here, but you're going to do it by yourself, and so you just sit down and you have the kirtans and you have the classes and you cook and you do, is it going to be the same? It's not the same. Although you may have the kirtan, you may play recordings of the classes or whatever, but it's not the same without the devotees. So loving the devotees is our everything. Civilization must be based on love, not law. Whatever we're attached to, whatever we have love for, our mind will go there. And we want to serve in that way. I want to tell you a story, or two perhaps. This is from a book called Bhaktamala. Now, for those of you who are literature, persons who are fond of literature, there's a number of different Bhaktamalas. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Bhaktivinoda didn't appreciate most of them. But Nabadas's Bhaktamala, Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about in his autobiography, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta recommended it on a list of books for those persons who are studying Bhakti Shastri. Is a recommended book, Navadas's Bhaktamala. So there's a story there about a devotee whose name was Trilochan. And Trilochan was a very exalted Vaishnava. He was in a Vaishya family, and he's always busy doing business. But Trilochan's real desire was he wanted to serve the Vaishnavas. But because he's always working, he's got a job, he has a family to take care of, different things. He doesn't have time or ability to serve the Vaishnavas. So he's always thinking to himself, if only we had a good servant. If we had a good servant, then I could facilitate and we could do service for the Vaishnavas. Krishna understood the desire of Trilochan. And so one day, to fulfill the desire of his devotee, Krishna showed up at his door. And he was dressed like a poor beggar with only a blanket on, with a hole cut through it with his head. That old ratty blanket, broken shoes. And he came and knocked on the door of Trilochan. Trilochan came out and saw this poor man. And somehow, immediately, he felt a great affection for him, not knowing who it was. And Trilochan said, oh, my dear sir, it looks like you're very poor. Are you okay? He said, yes, I don't have anything. He said, and Trilochan said, well, if you'd like, I'm looking to hire someone. Would you like a job? And he said, maybe. What kind of job? He said, well, I need someone to serve the Vaishnavas. Would you like to do that? Krishna smiles. I would like that job. Huh? And Sri Lochan said, but do you have any experience? And he said, oh yes, I'm very expert in this thing. I know how to do all types of service for the Vaishnavas. Huh? I can do that. Huh? What is your name? Krishna said, my name is Antaryami. He said, but I have a problem. Nobody ever wants to hire me. Why? See, I eat too much. And there's this condition, I'll work for you, I'll serve the Vaishnavas. And all that I want, you have to feed me what I want. We can do that. How much? Krishna said, well, like sometimes I eat 8 or 10 kgs of rice a day. You can cook that for me. I'll be very happy. And the condition is you feed me and you never complain. If you complain, then I'm leaving. And so there's an arrangement. And Antaryami, Krishna, started serving the Vaishnavas in the home of Trilochan. And Vaishnavas devotees would come from some distance. He would greet them with sweet words, offer them a seat, some nice lemon drink, a little sugar in it, massage their feet, take their clothes and wash their clothes, give them some place to rest, help make all arrangements for them, serve them their meal. And in this way, Krishna was serving all the Vaishnavas. And Trilochan was so happy because so many Vaishnavas were coming. Now I can serve the devotees. I have a good servant who's assisting me to do this. Trilochan's wife, meanwhile, one day she was speaking with one of her friends. And her friend asked her, she said, you look really tired lately. Is everything okay? And Trilochan's wife, she said, well, it's this new servant we've got. He eats like all the time. And I'm just busy cooking for him constantly. And I'm really tired. And that's all she said. But then Antaryami, he's really the Antaryami, the Lord of the heart. And he knew what she'd said. And so immediately Krishna disappeared. And then Trilochan became full of anxiety. What happened to Antaryami? Now there's no one to serve the Vaishnavas. And for 3 days, Trilochan fasted. Chastised his wife. I told you, don't complain. Don't complain about him. You said something, you shouldn't have done that. For 3 days, Trilochan fasted, lamenting, now I don't have the help, the assistance of this personality to help me serve the Vaishnavas. After 3 days, suddenly there was an Akashvani, a voice in the sky, and it was the voice of Krishna, the voice of Trilochan. And he said, the voice of Antaryami. And he said, hey, Trilochan, you should take your meal. Don't lament. If you feel bad that I'm gone, I can come back and I can continue my service. And now Trilochan realizes who that actually was. No. Oh my God. My God. My God was coming. And he was serving the devotees. I was letting him do that. This is how much love Krishna has for his devotees. So when we speak about the art and heart of Vaishnava Sangha, when we speak about civilization, civilization must be based on love, not law. We should learn to love the devotees. And by loving the devotees, by coming together and loving them with kirtan and hari katha, then we can make proper advancement and we'll actually be able to remember Krishna. I can stop there, or I can tell you one more story. One more story? But I can't remember his name. Krishna Kun, the disciple of Ramanuja, Ramanuja told him you should love the devotees. Something Acharya. Anyway, I don't remember the name. There was one disciple of Ramanuja. His guru once called for him. His name's not coming to my mind. Anyway, and Ramanuja told him that I want you to love the devotees as much as you love Krishna. And this devotee, this disciple of Ramanuja, he was very sincere and very simple. And he said, Guru Maharaj, I'm sorry, I can't do that. It's not possible. I love Krishna so much. It's not possible for me to love the devotees as much as Krishna. And then Ramanuja said, okay, then you should love them as much as you love your guru. Lalacharya. Lalacharya was his name. And Lalacharya, he said, Guru Maharaj, I'm sorry. I also, how can I love the devotees as much as I love you? Please forgive me, but that's not possible either. And Ramanuja said, okay, Lalacharya, you should love the devotees as much like your brother. Lalacharya said, yes, Gurudev, I can do that. A few days later, Lalacharya's wife was washing some clothes on the bank of the Kaveri River, and a dead body came floating down the river. The dead body had tilak on and kunti mala. So she went back and she told her husband, there's a body of a dead Vaishnava just washed up in the river. When Lalacharya, who was very simple, heard that, he began to cry. My brother died. Because really, he loved the Vaishnavas on the order of his guru as much as he loved his brother. So he took some devotees and they went and they carried the body on a palanquin. And he went and burned the body. And then, because it's my brother, he went around the town and he told all the different elevated Brahmins in that village that please come. We're going to have a Shraddha ceremony, I think 11 days afterwards. We're going to have a Shraddha ceremony. We want to give prasadam to everyone. You please come. My brother died. Now those Brahmins were Smarta Brahmins. They were following Smarta Vichar, not Goswami Vichar. Their consideration was rules and regulations. But civilization must be what? They're following law, not love. And they said, what is this crazy Hare Krishna guy? Some person died. Who knows who the dead body was? Okay, there's Tilak and Kunti Mala, but he said his brother died. And he wants to invite us and have some food that he calls prasad. I'm not going to go. And they all refused to go. Lalacharya felt very sad. So he went back to his Guru Maharaj. Gurudev, my brother died. You told me I should love the Vaishnavas like my brother. And a dead Vaishnava came and I want to have a Shraddha ceremony for him, but the Brahmins won't come. What can I do? Ramanuja didn't say anything. Strangely, he just looked up in the sky for a moment or two, quietly. And then Ramanuja looked back at Lalacharya and told him, go home, cook, and offer some prasadam. Some Vaishnavas will come. You make a feast. Yes, Gurudev. Thank you, Gurudev. He had firm faith. Yeshadevi Parad Bhakti Geta Devi Tata Guru. He had firm faith in the order of his Gurudev. So Lalacharya went home. Gurudev said, some people are coming. I better cook. I better get everything really nice. He told his wife, clean the house. Some Vaishnavas are coming. And he cooked, offered bhoga, and some nice prasadam. Just at that time, a group of very effulgent Vaishnava Brahmins came to the village. No one had ever seen them before. And they asked some of the local people, do you know where Lalacharya's house is? He's having a party today. We're going and ate some prasadam. Yeah, that Lala, he's over there. And they were confused, the local Brahmins. Who are these visiting Brahmins? Why are they going to the house of that guy, that Lalacharya? And so they came and knocked on the door. Lalacharya, you're here. Gurudev told me you were coming. Please come in, come in. And he sat them all down, put a nice leaf plate in front of them, and started serving prasadam with great happiness. With great love, he served those Vaishnavas. And he pleased them so much that they gave him a special darshan. And suddenly he saw all of them had 4 arms. And they're 4-armed residents of Vaikuntha. And Lalacharya began to cry and offer obeisances again and again to those eternal associates of the Lord who just came to his door on the request of his guru. Meanwhile, those Smarta Brahmins who were outside, they were speaking amongst themselves in a very envious way. Oh, this Lalacharya, who are these Brahmins coming to his house? Hey, I got an idea. When these guys come out, let's have a little party. We're going to sit outside and we'll make fun of them. We'll laugh at them. Why are you eating that food in that guy's house? It's not really prasadam. What is this thing? And so they were all sitting outside, ready to make fun of the Brahmins who had come to Lalacharya's house. So they finished the program, and those Brahmin guests, the residents of Vaikuntha, left the house of Lalacharya, and they came out, and those envious Brahmins were waiting out there to make fun of them. But something strange happened. It's kind of like there were some steps, only there was no steps that were visible. Those Brahmins from the house of Lalacharya just started walking up into the sky. But there's no steps. And it kind of made those envious Brahmins quiet. And they were looking, and they had, as we would say in America, an attitude adjustment. And they realized, oh, we made a big mistake. And they started crying. And they came to Lalacharya and said, is there any prasadam left? Any remnants on their plate left? We'd like a little bit of that. And Lalacharya said, please forgive us. We made a big offense. We didn't recognize your greatness, and we didn't come when we should have. And Lalacharya said, no. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have gotten a chance to serve the Lord's devotees of Vaikuntha. This is by your blessing that I was able to do that. Thank you so much. So this is the art and heart of Vaishnava Sangha. Krishna is the heart. Krishna's heart is the devotees. And the art of Vaishnava Sangha is always keeping Krishna in the center, always remembering Krishna, but doing it in a way with love, loving the devotees, making friendship with the devotees. And this is the prayer of Britasura. But my dear Lord, may I always have friendship with your devotees in the Serbian summer camp. This is my prayer. May I always have friendship with the devotees. Because Srila Prabhupada said, civilization must be founded on love, not law. Can you repeat that for me? Civilization must be founded on love, not law. So if someone asks you, what did you hear in that katha? What will you say? So you should remember that one thing. Srila Prabhupada said, our society is devotees. And just as we love Krishna, we should also love the devotees. So I think by my clock here we have a couple more minutes. Maybe 2 minutes. Sachinanda Maharaj, do you want to correct me of anything or add anything? Or anybody else with any reflections, questions or comments? That's paraspara, this is back and forth. It's encouraging for the speaker because then you know not everybody fell asleep. But if nobody has any comment, then you have some nerves. Bhakti Devi Mataji, is there another mic?
I just wanted to ask you for some advice. Unfortunately, we have some situations when we want to make some programs. Devotees want to have kirtan, but not Krishna Katha. They say we are so long devotees, we know everything, and the main point is chanting Hare Krishna, what is it to read something or to speak something. And we are same generation, and it's difficult that someone comes and tells something.
Yeah. There's different degrees of faith. And it's easy to have faith in the holy name. Having faith in Krishna Katha and the speaker, that's a little more high-tech. We may like someone because Like my friend Madhav, he looks very extraordinary. His tattoos and body piercing and things. And he's just really, really cool. And devotees love Madhav. He's a cool person. And it's easy to love him because he just does kirtan. But Krishna Katha, I don't know. Once we went to a temple in a European country, I won't say, and it was a huge temple. I mean, the temple room was bigger than the wall going all the way back there. And there was like maybe 5 or 6 devotees to greet us. And they were apologizing. We were very sorry. This temple, we used to have 400 or 500 devotees. But now there's only 6 or 8 of us. And I asked them a question which made them very uncomfortable. I said, why aren't they coming anymore? And they said, they're in Maya, Prabhu. I said, I'm also in Maya. Probably you're in Maya too. But we're here. Why aren't they here? And they were offering different reasons, this and this and that. And I said, well, my Guru Maharaj said, Krishna Katha is so attractive. Who will not be attracted by Krishna Katha? But if we use Krishna Katha to try to get money, or to try to control devotees. I had one temple president who used to give Bhagavatam class every week. And he would read the verse, sing Jai Radha Madhav, read the verse and purport, then pull out the attendance sheet. Prabhuji, you only came to Mangal Arti once last week? What's going on? And he would go around to the whole list of everybody in the temple, and then he would pull out another list of the Sankirtan scores. And so you pledged you'd give $1,000 a week. You only gave $200 last week. What's going on? And I'm sorry to say, but it was horrible. And the devotees are very, very depressed. It's not Krishna Katha, but sometimes we're trying to use Krishna Katha to control people. So if Krishna Katha is really for the sake of Krishna Katha, it has no other purpose. It's not meant to control anyone. It's not for entertainment. It's just for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna and the Vaishnavas. That's so attractive. That's a haitaki. It's apratiyata. It never stops. And the Sriyatma superseded. That's fully satisfying to the heart. So my humble suggestion would be, because not everybody has faith in, more devotees have faith in my friend Madhav probably than they do me, honestly. They want to hear his kirtan, and that's fine, that's great. We like having kirtan. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that the Swarup Shakti of Krishna Nam is Krishna Katha. And just as we don't separate Radha from Krishna, we shouldn't separate Krishna Katha from Krishna Nam. And that Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan is Krishna, Krishna Katha is Radharani. So Srila Prabhupada taught us to have a sandwich. We have Kirtan, just like Satchidananda Maharaj always does. I love that. Kirtan and Katha and Kirtan. The first Kirtan, as we were saying the other day in the New Age way, it opens your chakras, Prabhu. It purifies your mind, gives you something to open your mind. And then there's some Krishna Katha to fill the garage, fill our heart. And then the final Kirtan is based on that Krishna Katha. Otherwise, what Kirtan are we doing? I don't know. Devotees are coming, and what are we thinking? Some are thinking about the prasadam afterwards. Some are thinking, are there any cute guys here? I'm looking for a husband. And some people, they're looking for a wife. Some people are thinking, if I come here, I'll get some piety, I'll get money, I'll get liberation. Who knows what everybody's thinking? And there's really a lack of unity in that kirtan. Sometimes there's a unity in the sense that we all like this music. And it's inspiring and it's nice. But that unity really comes from Krishna Katha. So they're inseparable. We should always have kirtan, katha, and kirtan. But we can't always do that with everyone. Not everybody has faith in them. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, sometimes he told the devotees, anyway, at some public programs once in Paris, the students were angry. Prabhupada said, anyway, no lecture. Just kirtan. Just do kirtan. Because not everybody has faith for that. If we just do kirtan, then we'll come to a higher platform. But ideally we have both. Sachinanda Maharaj, is that okay answer? Okay. I know Maharaj is very adamant about that. We'll see how you always incorporate that. So we should stop today. I think we're a little late. Please forgive me. Grantana Srimad Bhagavatam Ke, Srila Prabhupada Ke, Srila Bhaktavinda Ke, Premanande, Vanchakalpadarubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Ananda Kodi Vaishnavrinda Ke, Sylvia Summer Camp Ke,